This is also a different one. Let me show you my screen. And from now on, we're going to start a completely different topic that is related, of course, to international trade. Remember, guys, that everything that is tricky in international trade really is, of course, knowing each country. You know, if you want to invest in South Africa, you need to know the laws, the regulations, and all this stuff that is important for investments and to understand where you are going to be facing problems. But the common denominator of everything is exchange rates. You agree? So we always are going to be focusing on exchange rates. And you will see at this point, hopefully, guys, understand how exchange rates can make boost your profits or can simply destroy your profits, right? So that's why exchange rates are very crucial to understand and to understand when I get into my investment, when I get out of my investment. Right? Knowing these variables that affect exchange rates, you know, governments that have high dollarized economies are less likely to motivate depreciations because they know that they can have issues with the banking sector, right? Defaults, etc. So you need to understand all these concepts in your mind already. You need to understand how the exchange rate influences inflation, depending on how open is your economy. So all this stuff here, guys, is gold for you. When you do this type of things, that's what you need to start thinking and discussing about. Right? So now we are going to go into the next step of the class, guys, and it's going to be basically dealing with hedging. Okay, so how do we hedge our positions? If I'm doing I'm an exporter or importer, I know that my profits depend on the volatility of exchange rates. So how can I fix or how can I disappear my risk, or at least minimize my risks? Okay, so that's the concept of hedging. And hedging, guys, we're going to be basically dealing very quickly, and I will not invest a lot of time on forwards and futures. And what I will invest more time, at least for the next 4 classes, is options. Okay, so let's talk a little about what is a forward and future. Have you seen this before, right? At least you have heard about this before, right, guys? Okay, so what are forwards and futures? What is important for us, guys? These are contracts. Okay, both of them are contracts. And as a contract, guys, implies that what you say, what you sign is what you need to do if you want to have issues. Right? Now, what is a forward, guys? This is an over-the-counter transaction. So this is private. So basically, if you are a client of a bank and then you want to fix your exchange rate, you go to a bank. The bank knows you because you are his client. And then you do an agreement. Right? And futures are basically markets, exchanges. You see? So you can go to Chicago Stock Exchange, you can go to different markets, and then you can try to buy something. You know, try to lock the prices of something. Okay? Now, how this works? So imagine, guys, that you are here. Okay, so this is time, and this is exchange rates. And imagine that your exchange rates are here, so you are here. And then you want to be, this is, let's say, this is a time t. And then a time caps t, you are going to do something. Okay, so for example, if you are an exporter, you need to have dollars here. Imagine you are an exporter in Peru. So basically, you need dollars. Yeah, let's do importer. Easier to understand first than importer. You're going to import. So you need dollars. Got it? But unfortunately, when you need the dollars is from here to 3 months. And you have no idea if the price of the dollar is going to be here, the price of the dollar is going to be here, or perhaps the price of the dollar is going to be here. You don't know. You have no idea where you're going to be located. You can be here, 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 or any place here. Of course, there are some methods that can tell you, you know what, perhaps you're going to be around here. And you know that for importers, guys, depreciation is good or bad? Guys, for importers, is good or bad? Remember, M is importers. Depreciation is good or bad?
Bad.
It is bad. Why? Because remember, I need dollars to pay for my buyings, for my purchases. Do you agree? So if I buy the dollars with more local currency, so this goes against me. Right? So what you can do is you can say, you know what? Okay, I go to a bank A. Well, I ask bank A to sign a forward. Okay, we sign a forward. It's an agreement. And what happens at T0? Imagine, guys, that the exchange rate is 3 soles per dollar. And what you want is you want to fix, let's say at maximum 3.1 soles per dollar. So you fix this number. Okay. So in a forward contract, guys, normally the bank knows you. So normally you have an account with the bank, so they have your savings. They know your savings. So you don't need to do anything else, right? Now imagine, guys, let's assume what happens at time t. Assume that at time t, we have two things. One, the price of dollar goes to 3.5 soles per dollar. Or at time t, this goes to 2.5 soles per dollar. Okay, so what happens at this one here? So what you are going to pay when you buy dollars, you pay, what are you going to pay? Always is going to be 3.1. So it's indifferent of the exchange rate in the market. So this is my market exchange rate. Agree? So as soon as you have the forward, you are always going to pay 3.1. It's a contract. Now, this situation here, you are paying 3.1 for something that is worth 3.5. So you are good, correct? And what is interesting, guys, here appears the concept of payoff. Payoff is basically how much you're making for doing a transaction. In this case, you are making 0.4, correct? A positive 0.4. This was good for you. However, what happens in your situation? If you go to the market, you can pay 2.5, but you already have an agreement to pay 3.1, and you cannot escape because you have a contract. Agree with me, guys? Unless you want to default with the bank, and you don't want that because you are the client of the bank, and the bank has your deposit. So it is a mess. Better don't do that. But in this case, for you it was not good, and you are losing basically 0.6. Okay? And that's it. So you don't have okay, of course, what is the hedging here? Well, the hedging here, guys, is that you know that for sure you're going to pay 3.1. Got it? So at this point here, you know that for sure your price is going to be 3.1. For sure. There is no variability. So that's the advantage of having the hedging here. Now, normally, guys, what I tell the people that I do consulting, don't look at these numbers. If you are in an agreement like this, forget about these numbers. Forget about the market. You just focus on this price here. So you should, when you enter to the contract, to the forward contract, you should know that you are 3.1. That's it. Got it? don't take into consideration this part here. Why? Because you're going to be feeling extremely good or you're going to be feeling extremely bad. Because you're going to say, oh, come on, I should have not done this. So that's why the forward looks more like an insurance, guys. Do you agree? When you buy a life insurance, for example, you pay for life insurance in a year, then what is the best strategy for you the next year? If nothing happens to you, you're not going to feel bad, right? Perhaps you feel bad because you have paid for something that you haven't used in a year. But also at the same time, it was good, right? Because nothing happened to you, so you are still alive. So paying the insurance was okay. It is a negative for you, but at least you're okay. It's exactly the same. A forward, when you are doing these type of things, guys, it's like that. It's like, don't feel bad. Don't look at this part here. Of course, you have lost, but you never knew that you were not in this position here. Make sense? So you need to be just careful with that. So a forward, guys, it is the same. It has the same structure as a future. The only difference is that futures negotiate in markets, okay? And then this puts a different dynamic on the model. Okay, copy. Let me rename some file here. Questions up to here? No? No questions? Okay, so let's move. Now, a future looks very similar. Okay. However, guys, here what happens is you have an intermediary. Okay, you have an exchange. Oops. That is basically a market. You agree? And basically here, what is going to happen is that someone are looking for basically long positions. So when you want to buy, it's a long position. And someone here wants to short. This is wants to sell. This is what is called short position. Okay? And the exchange ensures that this is also a contract. Okay? So this implies that what you say here, what you agree, it is fixed. Okay? So you cannot change your decision. Of course, you can sell in between and sell to another part, but you need to satisfy something. Now, let's go to the same example. I say, I want, okay, so these are my conditions. I want $1 in 3 months. I set my price. Let's say at 3.1. Yeah, it's fixed, 3.1. And then here, as soon as the market doesn't know you, okay, it is not like a bank that knows you directly. You are one more player in the game, so he doesn't necessarily need to meet you or know you. So what we are going to have is we're going to work with margins. Okay, and margins has 2 types of margins. Basically, initial margin and maintenance margin. Let me write maintenance. Give me 1 second. Okay, so how this works. Imagine, as soon as you need to, I need to be sure that you're going to do this, okay? You're not going to escape if the market goes for you. So what you're going to do is the stock is going to tell you, okay, you know what? I need to have, imagine, is $3, 30% of this is 0.9. Okay, so I want you to deposit right now 0.9. It depends. This 30% can go 5%, can be 10%. It depends on who you are. Okay, or the product that we have, or the volatility that the market has. So this number here changes. Okay, if it's a non-volatile product, you know, it's some product that the price is more or less stable, so the initial margin can be very low. If we have a very volatile product like gold, for example, so the margin can be very, very significant. Right? But in any case, you don't need to put the $3.1 immediately. You just put 0.9. Right? And then let's say the maintenance margin is going to be 0.2. And I will explain what is the 0.2. Okay? And I've done $1 only because it's simple to explain. Now, imagine, guys, that I will do T plus 1, T plus 2, T plus 3. So these are days, okay? And then finally we go T plus 90 days. Right? Let's assume, guys, at time T, my price was 3. Right? And then at time T plus 1, my price was 3.3. Sorry, I'm sorry. I need to define also. I want to buy. So basically, I am an importer. Okay, and this is crucial. Remember, importers don't like appreciations. Sorry, they don't like depreciations. You agree? So if the currency depreciates, good for them. If the currency appreciates, bad for them. Okay? So let's assume that as soon as he enters into the agreement, the price goes to 2.7. Okay? Of course, with this one here, just put in the game. So if you're going to buy something that in the market is 2.7 by 3.1, it's better to go to the market, right? Agree with me or not? Yes. How the exchange avoids this situation? This guy is gonna tell you, oh, wait a second. You cannot do that because you have already deposited with me 0.9. Right? But this difference here of 0.3 that goes against me, this is going to decrease your maintenance margin in 3 cents, in 30 cents. So your new margin now is 0.6. You understand?
Sorry, where'd you get the 2.7 from?
Oh, this is the price. This is these are assumed values. Yeah, exactly.
Those are assumed.
Yes, so this happened. So you were here, next day, this went to 2.7.
Okay.
Got it? So now that you have 2.7, immediately, you know that the question is the following. If you have the alternative to quit and then exercise in the market, which one do you prefer? 2.7 or 3.1? Obviously 2.7, right? Because you want to buy. It's cheaper to buy in the market than buying from the contract. So if you can default, you default. However, you're not going to default because I already have 0.9 in the market. Now, as soon as my price has decreased by 30 cents, I'm sorry, it's not respect to this 3, it's respect to this 3.1. So it's actually 40 cents. So these 40 cents, I will draw this somewhere. Sorry, this 40 cents is my 3.1 minus my 2.7. 3.1 from here, 2.7 from here. Right? So now I have 0.5. In deposit, it's like as if I have 0.5. So this 0.5 is compared with my maintenance margin. Is this 0.5 smaller than 0.2? No, there is no margin call. okay? Because this number still is above the 0.2. Make sense? So now let's move a little more. So let's assume that the price, I will exaggerate with the price. Now my price goes to 2. In period 2, it goes to 2 directly. So what happens then? Again, the question is, you know what, 3.1 or 2, which one is better? 2. If you want to buy, better if you go to the market. So for you, it's better for you to default the future contract, do you agree? So in this case, the exchange is going to say, wait a second. So you still have 0.5, so we'll do this here. You have 0.5, but this one here has decreased how many more cents? 0.7 cents. Now you compare this one minus this one. So indeed, this one here equals minus 0.2. That is smaller than 0.2. Agree with me, guys? And so there is a margin call. So what is this margin call? How much money you need to put? You need to recover the margin call. The maintenance margin is something that you must always have. So how many cents you need to give me? 0.4. Do you agree, guys? So you need to give me 0.4 more margin call as a margin call, in such a way that you are always going to keep basically the minimum at this number.
Professor, can we sorry, I think I lost track a bit. Can we go back to the definition of what margin call is?
Yeah. Oh yes, margin call is simply you compare this number here, so that the difference of this number here versus this number here. So negative 0.2 obviously is smaller than 0.2. Agree, Daniel?
Yeah, yeah.
So there is a margin call. So this implies that the one that has that this guy that wants to buy that has bought already the future needs to put 0.4 more to give 0. more to the exchange as a guarantee that he will not escape.
Like as a protection, just in case.
As a protection, just in case this guy doesn't disappear. Because remember, this is a contract. Do you agree?
Yeah.
So let's put the following way. You are the buyer. Okay, just you are the one that's going to buy $1 in 3 months. Okay, and we have set the price. The future price is 3.1. So in 3 months, you're going to pay 3.1. Make sense?
Yeah.
Now everything is in terms of incentives. My initial margin is 0.9. So to start the business, you put 0.9. Okay? When we signed the agreement, you put 0.9. And we agree that the maintenance margin is going to be 0.2. So the minimum you can have price difference is 0.2. Let me explain this. So we started here, the price was 3. Next day, the price goes to 2.7. Now you can imagine immediately your incentive to default the future is very high, do you agree? Because what you can say is, you know what, instead of paying 3.1, I go to the market and I pay 2.7. So it's much better for me to go to the market. However, remember that you already have deposited 0.9. Correct?
Correct.
Then what you do is the following, that the market is going to say, oh, you know what, this is creating an incentive for you to quit the market, to quit the future. So what I do is I compare my 0.9, that was my initial margin, minus the decrease in prices, 3.1 minus 2.7 is 0.4. So my maintenance, my margin now is only 5 cents. 50 cents. What I do is I compare, is this 50 cents larger than my maintenance margin, 0.2? Yes, it is. So there is no margin call. So we don't do anything. The market doesn't tell you anything. You just keep it like that. Because what can happen is the next day this goes up. Okay, in that case, it's good. But imagine that you're very unlucky and the price still goes down from 2.7 to 2. So what is the decrease on price? Sorry, what was my margin at the beginning of the day? 0.5, correct? This is my margin. 0.5 is this one here. Now, how much have I have decreased from T1 to T2? I have decreased 0.7. These two. Agree with me? So basically now you are in a negative 0.2. Then you compare. Is this negative 0.2 smaller than my maintenance margin, 0.2? Yes, of course. So there is a margin call. So what is a margin call? I will call you. Technically, well, before it was call you. Hey, Daniel, you know what? You need to put 4 cents to go back to your maintenance margin. And then you need to go and you need to make the deposit. You need to give me as an exchange for 40 additional cents. Make sense? So what happens if you don't do that? I simply execute the buy. I simply buy the dollars and then I simply give this to the short. So I'm trying to avoid you escaping the contract. So you need to give me 0.4. Right? This 0.4, what it does is simply moves your maintenance margin again to 0.2. Okay, so we started 0.9. Next day we went into 0.5. Next day we went into minus 0.2. But this was a temporary one. You were at 0.2, so this was a temporary one because you need to put 0.4 in order to be moved to 0.2. You see? So this difference here is that you need to put 0.4 more in order to arrive to this one here. So this is your maintenance margin. And then imagine that at time 3, so that the things start getting better for you, this moves 2.5. Okay, so how do we analyze this one here? Okay, my initial margin was 0.2 because if I put 0.4 plus minus 0.2, so I go to 0.2, agree? Plus 0.5. Do you agree? So this is equal to 0.7. And then you compare. Is 0.7 smaller than 0.2? No. Then no margin call. So nothing happens. You don't need to do anything. My new price now goes to 0.7. So I'm going to be around here. So you don't need to do anything.
Sorry, you put 0.7 is less than 0.2? I don't.
Yeah, no. It's not. So this is the question. Is 0.7 smaller than 0.2? No.
Okay.
Okay. No, if it's no margin call.
Yeah, that's what I understood.
Yep, perfect.
Professor, does that mean he can, I'm not sure if I understand fully the concept of margin call, but does it mean that the 0.4 that the buyer like put in, he can get it back?
Yeah. Wait, let's do one more. Let's do one more
All right.
period. So let's do T plus 4. It's getting too crowded, but in any case, copy, and then we do this together. T plus 4. Ready? Okay, guys. So let's assume now that the price at T4, I'm exaggerating, of course, this volatility should be insane, now moves to 3.4. Okay, so now I had, I started with 0.7. And what is the difference? Plus 0.9. So I have now 1.6. And the question is 1.6 is more than 0.2? Obviously, no. No margin call. However, so no margin call. However, guys, this number here is larger than 0.9. Do you agree? This number here. So you know what is going to happen? It's going to be a margin call, but not for you, to seller. Because now the seller has the incentive to not to sell you. Agree with me, guys? The seller now, he says, okay, I will sell Daniel at 3.1. I can go to the market and sell it at 3.4. So what is better for me? To sell in the market. Do you agree? So now that the one that wants to close the position, that wants to simply disappear from the position, is the seller. Agree with me, guys? So the seller now is going to have a margin call. And this margin call is going to be for the difference. Okay, so the seller is going to have a margin call of just to make it back to 0.9. So basically, a margin call of 0.7. Agree with me? So what happens here is you go to 1.6, only temporary. Then they return this money, this 0.7 is returned to buyer. You're going to receive 0.7 in such a way that you, at the end, you're going to end up having here. Let's say this is minus, so you need to put this one. I'll forget about this side. Make sense to you? So, and that's the game. And that's the game. The only thing is that you basically, the market, what they want is to avoid you escaping the contract. Because technically you can, you know what, if you are not in USA and you're in another country, you simply, you say, oh, okay, bye-bye. Find me if you can. But if you have money already in the game, so in a margin, so then you need to think it twice. Make sense?
Professor, is this the same principle as to if you watch The Big Short?
Yeah.
Something like
yes, that. Exactly that. Yes.
Yeah, like the term margin call was very familiar.
It is. Yeah, the margin call is terrible. You know what? Why is terrible, guys? Because every time that the market goes against you, okay, this is you know what? I remember last year, I asked my students to watch that one in one of my classes. So, have you watched the Big Short, the movie? No, you know what?
Yeah.
Just watch it. It is really interesting. The name is Big Short, right? Okay, so what is the basic idea, guys? The following. Imagine, and this is real life, okay? Imagine that this was 2007, I think. Yeah, it was 2007. And you know that the crisis went in 2008. Do you remember that? The big financial crisis. So what happened up to 2007 is that the market was going up. Sorry. No. This is not right. The market was already up. by 2007. So it was like that, for example. Okay, the stock market, for example, the mortgage-backed securities, all these instruments that were insanely priced high. So the guy that was from here, I don't remember his name, he was saying, come on, this is a bubble. This is definitely a bubble, right? So this is going to collapse, and when it collapses, it would collapse very good. Makes sense? So what do you know, what do you do, guys, when there is an expectation? You expect prices to go down. What is your best strategy? And you don't have the assets. What do you do?
Short it.
Yeah, exactly. What you do is you basically short sell. So what is a short sell? Basically, let's say agent one lends you IBM. I'm just using any name, IBM. Got it? Agent two, you basically sell IBM. But this is a time 0. So what do you expect at time 1? Your expectation is that prices are going to go down, right? In T1, IBM price decreases. So what do you do? Imagine that your expectation was correct. What do you do? Then you buy cheaper, correct? You return IBM plus some interest, and you take the profits. Do you agree, guys? So imagine, when you sell, let's assume that you sold 150. Then the price went down, and then you buy 140. Got it? So return IBM. So with 140, you buy again IBM plus an interest. So imagine that interest is simply IBM plus $2 of interest. So what is your profit? Is basically 8. Do you agree? So what is the main condition here, guys? This to happen. Agree? So now what happens in general, guys? This is also, you have the incentive. Imagine if the price goes down, you agent 2, no issue, because this is going for you. So you're not going to default. So that's perfect. Do you agree? However, what happens if the price goes up? Instead of going down, the price goes up. So you have an incentive simply to disappear. Do you agree with me? Yes or no? So for avoiding that, to avoid agent 2 to default, agent 1 requests a margin to agent 2. So what is the margin? It's exactly that. You need to make a deposit, of whatever, 30 cents. If the price goes up, okay, you need to make another deposit of 10 cents more. If the price continues going up, you need to put another deposit of 20 cents, and then boom, 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 goes up. So you are going to be putting more and more and more on margins. Do you agree? So basically, if P goes up, there are margin calls. You need to put more money. If P goes up, another margin call. And if P goes up again, another margin call. And so what happens here, guys? At the end of the day, you don't have the money. So you don't have liquidity. So what happens when you don't have liquidity? Basically, they execute your order. They execute your IBM. Make sense? Okay, so what happens in real life was that. So this guy entered, I think this was, I don't know, I don't remember very well, but at the beginning of 2007, he said, oh, this is terrible. No, it was not beginning. It should have been mid-2007. He realizes that, the market is too hot. So what he did is he short here. And then what happens? Well, the market continued going up. And so all the history guys and all the drama there is basically, where do I get the money? Do you see? And so this guy needs to call their clients and tell them, you know what, this is going to collapse. This is going to collapse. But if you're the client and then you see that this guy is losing tons of money, most of the clients say, you know what, forget about that. Just close your position. I get the loss, close the positions. And then basically that's all the drama. The drama is basically the prices go up. And then he managed to hide the information from his clients and tell them, oh, everything is perfect. Don't worry about that. You know, and that's the movie. And then what happened? 2008, this collapsed. This collapsed like that. And then he made, I don't remember Daniel, but he made, you know, $2 or $3 billion in 2 or 3 weeks.
Michael
That's it.
Burry, I think that's the name.
Yeah. What? Sorry.
Michael Burry.
Michael Berry.
Yeah, I think that's the name.
How do you write his name? Berry, like that?
Yeah, like double E, like I think it's with a U.
Like that?
No, like Barry, like BU. I mean Burry.
Ah, BU. Yeah. 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 Where's my mouse? BU. What else?
And then double RY.
Yeah.
2 R's and Y.
Yeah. It is very interesting movie, guys. It's really interesting because everything that you learn in this podcast, oh yeah, I understand this stuff. It's cool. It's really cool. And of course that the Hollywood movie part of the movie is really interesting too, but it is like that, you know. And now one recent case that make a lot of troubles is GameStop. Remember? Have you heard about this GameStop? Just 1 month ago. The price of GameStop, guys, you know, and this is one strategy that a lot of people is doing now. And of course, this is price collusion. It is definitely price collusion, but it's not the big players, you know, any individual. You know, this GameStop was collapsing, guys. The market was terrible. So if you do some fundamental analysis on GameStop, you say, come on, these guys they're not going to survive in the market for more than a year. So the price is going to collapse. So it's better to do short. One of the most shorted stocks in the market at the time was GameStop. With a logic, okay? So you can see the fundamentals. You can see that the market is not going towards this direction. Now everything is online. You need to do, this idea was a terrible idea now. Perhaps it was a good idea a long time ago, but now it's not so good. So there was a lot of short. But then what happened, Reddit guys were saying, you know what? Let's buy GameStop. And then GameStop, guys, it was amazing. In a single couple of days, went 400%. Can you imagine? 400% in a couple of days. So what happened with all these guys, these short guys? The margin calls were amazing. They were not able to do that. They collapsed. They closed. A couple of hedge funds simply collapsed. And we're not talking about 100 million hedge fund. We're talking about $2, $3, $4 billion hedge funds. Simply collapsed. What was interesting, of course, this was not sustainable in time. And now it's going up. So, and that's it. So that's the danger of short sales. Okay, just be careful with that. If the market is decent and the fundamentals are respected, you normally can get it. The only problem is that you can be sure about something. Oh yeah, the prices are going to go down, but you don't know when. That's your issue. This is what happens in this movie. Yeah, of course, the market was, everyone was talking, yeah, the market is overvalued, but yeah, overvalued, it continue going up. The issue is if you enter here, then you can be catastrophic. The best strategy, if you talk with God, get in here. Do the short there. However, no one knows that. You know, you need to be a believer and really pray a lot. But that's random. Make sense? Yeah, Daniel, it was good. The Big Short is good. I recommend you guys to watch that movie. It's a very interesting movie. And you can relate to the things we're doing. Okay, make sense? Okay, so let's continue. Let's continue with the class. So remember, guys, I was telling to you forwards and futures are contracts. So you cannot escape these contracts. Okay, and that's why you have either the bank knows you, so he has some leverage on you, so you cannot escape. Or you have a market, the futures, and in the futures you have this margin. So you always need to be very careful with the margin. Very, very careful, because sometimes in a week the prices can go down or can go up, so against you. So you need to be well prepared to have liquidity. Otherwise, even though next week the prices are going to go in your direction, you can be losing a lot of money. Okay, just be careful about that. The margin calls are very, very dangerous. And you can do another thing, guys, that is easier to handle. It's a kind of a tricky at the beginning to understand, but it's a fantastic instrument. Okay, and of course a lot of blame also on these instruments, but I think that the idea is very interesting. So let's talk about options. And we are going to devote all the remaining classes to options. Okay, so we're going to invest. We're going to try to understand this as much as we can. Okay, so what are options, guys? Okay, so these are options. So the long position, so let me define. Long, remember, is the one that buys contract, buys option. For this one here, the option is an option. So if he wants the long, if he wants exercises or not, it's up to him. Now, of course, there is a logic when to exercise, when not to exercise, but the long position is the one that has the option. And there is another position, guys, that is called the short, the one that sells. For this one here, it's an obligation. Okay, so one side of the equation, the short position, they have an obligation to do that. Otherwise, imagine if both have the option, the options are never going to be exercised. Okay, let's talk about the options that we are going to be talking here. Yeah, type of options. Okay, so let's talk. There are a bunch of them, but the ones that I want to talk here, someone that is called European option. Okay, you exercise at maturity. So if you have an option to exercise in 3 months, you cannot exercise in between. You need to wait 3 months. And the American option, you can have early exercise. Okay, then we can distinguish also between the ones that we are going to do call options. That is basically an option to buy. And then we have the put option. That is basically an option to sell. Okay, now options, guys, have a price. Okay, this is not like futures or forwards that you don't have a price. You have maintenance, but you don't have a price. The option has a price, and the price is called premium. Okay, so the premium is basically the price paid by long positions. Okay, so the premium is basically the price that you pay for getting the option. So, okay, now let's talk a little about the call option. And let's do some graphs here. So guys, what we are going to do is this one here is the price. Let's talk about equity, okay? Stocks. Let's call, oh, sorry, some definitions. Okay, let's call ST is a spot price at time T. Okay, this is ST. Let's call KT or K. Well, normally, yeah, it's K, guys, but I would use the word X. It's much faster to draw. This is my exercise price. And then, of course, I will call T my maturity. Okay. So basically, guys, the call option, if you do a long option, a long call, what do you want? What is what you want? Is basically you are buying an option to buy. Do you agree? So if you are long call, what you're doing is you're buying an option to buy. Correct? And what you want, guys, and let me explain what this is, what is the meaning of that. When you buy, you fix now your exercise price. What is called my strike price also. So if you set your strike price, guys, what is good for you? You have the option to buy. What is good for you? That the price goes up or the price goes down? Guys, if you have the option to buy in the future at X, this is dollars, what is good for you? That the price goes beyond X or below X?
Below.
Below, are you sure? So let's put prices. Imagine that you have the option to buy at 10. Okay, and the price moves to 15. So that this is the market price. It's good for you or bad for you?
Good for you.
That's good for you because you can buy at 10 and then you go to the market and sell at 15. So you make immediately a payoff of 5. Got it? So this part here is good for you. So that's why the option is going to be always the maximum of ST, the price at time T at maturity, minus X. This is my payoff. So if we have, okay, so remember, guys, that the option has a price. So let's call this C. This is my premium. And then this is going to go up to here. And if the price starts moving the other direction, moves in your direction, what is going to happen for you? This is going to be good for you. For example, 15, you're going to be making 15 minus 10 minus my premium, correct? So let's put some numbers. Imagine that you pay 2. Now the price goes to 15. So you are here. This height here is going to be equal to what? It's going to be 15 minus 10 minus what I've paid for that. So your payoff here is going to be 3. Agree? So if the price of the stock ST equals 10, you lose 2. If the price is between 10 and 12, so you're going to be losing money. You agree? If the price is 12, you are 0, you're net 0. You exercise your option, you're net 0. But if the price goes beyond 12, you're going to be making money. Make sense to you? So this is the idea. That's the way you read this part here. Make sense to you? Do you understand?
Sorry, if the price goes below 12 or above, like above 12?
Above 12, this side here. So indeed, technically, guys, is if the price goes above the strike price, you're going to start making money. But technically, guys, this distance here, you need to recover first this part here, that is my premium. So technically is the price plus my cost, and to the right of that, you're going to be making money. You're going to have a positive payoff. Okay, so what is the maximum you can lose? 2. What do you pay for the premium? Guys, what is the meaning of that? Imagine, guys, that the price is 8. Where do you go? You exercise your option or not? If you want to buy and the market price is 8, are you going to exercise at 10? No. You go to the market and you simply buy at 8. Agree with me or not? Guys?
Agree.
Yes, everyone understands that?
Professor, so to clarify, long call is your it's the option such that you want that after a certain period of time you can or cannot buy it.
Exactly.
You may buy it or not can. May.
Yes, you decide if you buy or not. It depends on basically the price. If the price is 15 in the market, and then you are going to buy at 10, of course you exercise that, because you're going to be making money, correct?
Yeah.
But if the price in the market is below 10, so forget about that. You're not going to exercise it. You're not forced to exercise this. That's the concept of an option. You have the option. If it's below 10, 8, imagine, you want to buy the stock, forget about that. You're not going to buy, you're not going to exercise your option. What you're going to do is you're going to go to the market and buy from the market. Agree? Guys, agree with me or not? So
Yes.
this is this notation, guys. So if this is 15, for example, 15 minus 10 or 0, which one do you select? 5. So you select to exercise. If this number here is greater than 0, you exercise.
So if you don't execute the trade, like if it does go down and you decide you don't want to do it, do you still have to pay that premium?
Yes, of course. Of course. This one here is a price for giving you the option. If you don't want to pay the premium, they're going to tell you, okay, go and do a forward or future. In forwards or futures, you don't have premiums. But it is a must for you to exercise, to do what the contract tells you. In this here, you have an option, and so the option has a price. Make sense? Okay. So this is my call option, long call. So this is the graph of a long call, this one here. Now, what happens? What is the short call? What is a short call? You sell an option to buy. Do you agree? Remember, the short has an obligation. Give me 1 second, please. Just 1 second. Okay, so what is the opposite? The short call is an obligation, okay? So for this guy here, the one that is selling the option, the premium is a payment for them, so it's a positive, do you agree? I have here my X. So basically, if the price falls below X, he will keep the premium. But if the price starts increasing more than X, he can have infinite losses. Do you agree with me? Okay, so this is the mirror image of the long call. So basically, guys, if we put these two graphs in a single one, we are going to have, this is X. This is going to be my long call. And this is going to be my short call. This is my short. And this is my long. So what you need to understand, guys, is that if you are a short, your expectation is that the price is going to be below X, correct? Because you can keep the premium if you are short. And if you are long, your expectation is that you want to buy in the future and you expect that the prices are going to go up. And then you can make money. Now, remember that the long has the option. So what is the maximum this guy can lose? The premium. However, if you are short, what is the maximum you can lose? A loss? Infinite. If the price really jumps, you can lose tons of money. Okay, so what you need to remember, guys, is a long call. The payoff is always the maximum of what benefits you. And so my payoff is going to be the maximum of ST minus X or 0. So it's basically this part here. Also, this is exactly the same, guys, as saying another notation of this one here is simply this one here. It's exactly the same notation. Some books, some people use ST minus X plus. This plus on the top implies that it's the maximum of this number or 0. Just give me 1 second.
Your mic is muted, Professor.
Thank you. I was talking nothing. Let's do one example. It's clear, so let's do one example. Yeah, let's assume okay. You go long call. The price at time t, so now, so the small t is now, is imagine 10. Your exercise price, your strike price is going to be equal to 12. So you are fixing the price to 12. Your premium is going to be 1. Okay. Now what I want from you guys is A, if ST equals, let's say, 16. B, if your ST equals 12. Okay, what I want from you guys is tell me you exercise, you don't exercise. What is the payoff for, so the question is exercise or not, and your payoff. So, and the payoffs of the long position and of the short position. The same here. Give me the exercise. Do you exercise or not? So you're long. And in terms of the payoff, I want the payoff of you that are long and also of the shorts. And do the graphs, okay? The graphs are going to help you to understand this part here. Ready? Ready, guys? Okay, so how this works? Let's do our graph, okay? Let's do first the short. So my price is 1. Sorry, the long. My strike price is 12. I know that from 12, I will go up like that. So this distance here, guys, is exactly the same as this distance. It's 45 degrees always. So this distance is 1, this distance is 1, correct? So this implies if this is 12, this is 13. When are you in equilibrium? So basically you don't lose, you decide to go in the market or buy or exercise your option at 13, do you agree? This 13 is X plus C. Agree with me or not, guys? Okay, so this 13 is crucial because any price below, above 13 is going to be an exercise, correct? And the difference between 13 and the distance here, so for example, here I have 16. In my example, I said, oh, this is 16. As soon as this is 45 degrees, guys, what is the height here? It's the same as this distance here, correct? So basically, it's going to be 3. Now, how do I get these 3 in letters? This one here is equal to ST minus X minus C. So XT is 16 minus 12 minus 1. Here we go with my 3. This 3 is my payoff, my loan payoff. Exercise, yes. Loan, the payoff is 3. What is my short payoff? Remember, it's a mirror image. Do you agree? So this is going to be minus 3. Do you agree with me or not, guys? So if you want to do the graph, this is going to be 1. And then this goes back like that. And so this part here should be minus 3.
So do you have
Okay.
to do anything with that 10 then?
What is my 10? No, that's 10 is my price. We normally we compare these two just to define in the market. No, in the market at the money, sorry, in the money, at the money, out the money. We're going to talk about this later. Okay. It's just for purposes of comparison. So for example, this is out the money. When ST is smaller than X, when we have a call, we are out the money. Okay. In the call, remember the main equation is this one here. Sorry, minus K, comma 0. This is the main equation. And you know, this payoff assumes, guys, that C equals 0. So there is no cost. But in any case, if ST, so this is for calls, if ST is larger than K, we are in the money. If ST equals K, we are at the money. And if ST is smaller than K or X, and I am writing this, I'm out of the money. Now let's go and let's see what happens in the second case. The data is the same. I have 12 here. I paid 1. This goes like that. I know that this is 13. but then my price equals 12. So my price is here, right? So what do you do? Exercise or not exercise? No, you don't exercise. So what is going to be your payoff? So remember that any point from 12 down, the maximum you're going to lose is equal to the premium. So basically, you lose -1, correct? And the short makes 1. So basically, the short position is going to be like that. Like that. So basically, you're not exercising. So I keep my 1 if I'm short.
So like best case scenario for the short seller is that they're just getting the premium then, right?
Yes. Yes.
So that's where the premium comes from. It has to be like sufficiently big enough that they'll accept
To
it.
compensate them. Yeah, exactly. And this risk premium, as we're going to see this later, depends on volatility, depends on maturity, depends on the interest rates, depends on a bunch of factors. The higher the volatility, the higher the premium. The longer the maturity, the higher the premium. So it's a matter of expectations, do you agree? And hedging strategy. So for example, this guy that sells this one here, he has expectation the price is going to be really around this part here. It's going to, and there are strategy guys. We're going to see strategies in a couple of minutes. Okay. So now let's do the same with put options. Okay, the mathematical definition of this one here is the maximum of x minus st, 0. So remember, if you're a long put, what do you have? You have both an option to what? To sell. Okay, so what is good for you? That the prices go down or the prices go up? Again, you have an exercise price of x. So what is good for you if you have the option to sell? That the prices go down or the prices go up?
Down.
Down. Because you're going to sell by a higher price for something that in the market is being sold by less. Make sense? So basically, guys, as usual, if you buy a put, you have a premium that is called P. You need to pay a premium. But if the price goes below this guy, your payoff is going to be beautiful. Make sense? So this is a long put. The short put obviously is that the reverse. If someone sells you the option, he will keep the premium if the prices are X or larger than X, and it's gonna lose infinitely if the price goes below X or below this point here. This is my short put. Make sense?
Sorry, that got confusing. Could
Yeah.
the
Yes, let me review.
go back
So
to it
you
again?
yes, you have the option to sell. So imagine that, let's do one example. Okay, let's do example one. You option to sell, so you buy a put. So this implies you buy an option to sell. Let's assume that X equals 12. Got it? So you're going to sell at 12. Now, what happens if the price is less than 12? The market price is less than 12. What do? You go to the market to sell your asset, or you exercise your option at 12. So the market is 10, and you have the option to sell at 12. Which one are you going to sell? Where are you going to sell? Daniel.
The put.
The put.
Because
because you are going to get more money than in the market. Make sense?
Yeah.
Because you have the option to sell. Remember, you have the option to sell. You decide if you want to sell, or you decide, I don't want to sell. Got it? So let's do one example. Let's continue this one here. So you have a loan, buy a put, so you are loan put. And then you have the option to sell. This is the meaning of that. Now, X equals 12. Let's assume a couple of scenarios again. So I want you to exercise or not. So let's assume scenario A. ST equals 7. And I want you to tell me exercise or not. And I want you to tell me the payoff of long and short. And let's assume, sorry, the exercise price, the put price equals 1. Okay. And this is the first one. And the second one is that ST is equal to 12. The same. I want exercise or not. And the payoff. Okay, 3 minutes to do that. Gracias, Janet. Ready? Okay, guys, I will do one more stuff here and then we stop here. I think we are almost in time, but you know, I told you options look difficult, but they're easy. However, don't stress with this stuff. You know, when there is when you do behavioral finance, there is one aspect that always remembers me this type of discussions and problems. Human mind has issues when you have two options. It is very complex. Our minds are not prepared for having two options. We get confused, you know, bid and ask, call and put, long and short. We always get confused with this stuff, and our minds are prepared for that. Normally, human minds work very good when you have a reference point. So if you have three options, A, B, and C, so you lock normally one of them, and then you say, you know, this one is greater than this is more than this, and so it's easy to remember. But also human minds, regular human minds, we can select up to 7 items without issues. And you can test that, guys. If you go to a restaurant and the menu of the restaurant has 10 pages, what do? You simply ask the waiter, okay, tell me what to eat. Do you agree with that? So it's like that. When you have 2 options, you get confused. When you have more than 7, you get extremely confused. So you simply go to the default. So don't worry, study this stuff, what we have done today, just review and just try to memorize, because memorizing here is crucial. It's what is a call, what is a put, what is a long, what is a short, what is an obligation, what is an option, okay? And the graphs, these 2 graphs that we have done in this class are crucial to understand everything else later. Okay, so let's do this. Let's do the graph. I know my strike price is 12. I know that I have a short. The price of my short is 1. So 1 is around here. If you remember the graph is going to be like that. Correct? And then what it says is that that the market price is 7. So if my market price is 7, guys, what do you do? Just immediately take a look to this one here. You exercise or not exercise?
Exercise.
Exercise, because you're going to be selling at 12 something that in the market is sold at 7. You agree? So for you, it's better to sell at 12. You're going to be making more money. Now, what is the payoff of this one here? So payoff means what is the vertical, what is the distance between this point and this point? The trick here you need to remember is that this one here is equal to 1, correct? As soon as this is a line of 45, the degree is 45, this is 1. So what is this distance here? So this point here is actually 11. Agree with me, guys? So what is the distance from here to here? 4. Do you agree with me? So what is the distance from here to here?
4.
4. And you just need to remember this one here in formulas is ST minus, sorry, it's the opposite. Because we're talking about puts. So it's going to be X, come on. It's going to be X minus ST minus my P. So if you replace the values, X is 12 minus ST is 7 minus 1. So you obtain your 4. Okay. So you exercise. Yes, you exercise because this one here is smaller. So this one here. Now, if the long is 4, the short is going to be minus 4. It's simply the image. So the other guy is going to be like that. Make sense? Guys, everyone? Make sense to everyone?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Let's do this one here. Okay, so I have again 12. My long put is like that. Okay, but now my price equals 12. Yeah, well, yeah, you know what? Just let's change it just to make it. Let's change it to 13. just to show you what happens. So if the price is 13, do I exercise or not exercise my put? Sorry, this is wrong here. Do I exercise or not my put, guys? Guys, you are going to sell, you have an IBM. If you exercise your put option, you are going to receive 12. If you go to a market, you are going to receive 13. What is good for you?
Don't exercise.
Don't exercise. So that's the meaning of this part here. Don't exercise. So what is what you're going to be losing? The maximum that you lose is what you have paid. So you're losing -1. You agree? That's what you lose, -1. Always from 12 to the right of 12, the maximum you want to lose is 1, guys. That's why it's called a hedge also. Got it? The bad side of the equation, you are going to lose maximum of 1. The good side of the equation, if the price goes really down, you are going to make money. Make sense to you guys? So what is the counterparty, the short position? Basically, is going to have a +1 because you don't exercise. They keep the fee or they keep the premium. Everyone's happy. Make sense? Okay, one last thing. Spot transactions. What is the meaning of a spot transaction, guys? Is when you go to a market and buy, or when you plan to go to a market and buy and sell directly. No option, no futures, no forwards. So imagine, guys, that you want in the future to buy something at 50. Yeah, you want to buy. Now, if you want to buy a 50, imagine you have the budget is 50, right? What can happen in the future? Buy in the future. So this is also called a naked position. So I want to buy 50. I have 50 in 1 month, and I want to buy a stock. So what can happen? If the price goes down, so you make money. Do you agree? Because you have 50 and you just pay 40, so you have 10 for you. Good. However, guys, what can happen is that the price goes up beyond 50, so you're going to be losing money. Agree with me? So this is completely uncertainty. So you can make a lot of money if the price decreases by a lot, and you can lose a lot of money if the price increases. This is when you have a buy position in the future. Now, what is the position if you want to sell in the future? So imagine, guys, that you want to sell also at 50. So what can happen? You can be very lucky, and perhaps your share is going to be worth more than 50, so you can make a lot of money. But also you can be very unlucky, and the share you can receive less than 50, so you can lose like that. So when you are in naked positions, guys, either in short or in long, so these are the graphs. Right? So you can make a lot of money, you can lose a lot of money. So this is naked position and unhedged positions. Agree? So both of them non-hedged or unhedged positions. Make sense? Now, what is beautiful comes in, I don't know if I have time, but in any case. So imagine, guys, that I want to buy IBM in the future. Okay, let's assume that you want to buy at more or less 100. Okay, so this is your expectation. You know what? I will have $100 in 1 month, and I hope to buy IBM at $100. So if you do this, of course, your graph is going to look like that. This is 100. You can be very lucky and the price goes down. You can be very unlucky and the price goes up. However, guys, now that you are studying your options and say, you know what, I don't want to take this risk. I don't want this part here. I don't want IBM to go, the prices go up, and I'm going to be losing. I'm not going to be able to buy my IBM. So what I will do is I will add a long call. Right? So let's assume that for the long call, my strike price, let's set it at 100. Assume that my price equals 1. Okay, so in the future, let's call it, let's put this maturity, so 1 month. Let's assume that maturity is also 1 month. So I match exactly what I want. So now, if you can follow me, guys, for a minute, a long call, the graph is like this. Do you agree? So I pay 1. When it arrives to 100, it starts going up. Agree with me or not? This is my long call. Correct? Now, guys, please pay attention here. What happens is the following. What happens if my price goes below 100? Because now I have paid 1, my payoff in this part here is going to be like that. So I'm losing 1. Do you agree? Because I have paid, perhaps I can do this in different color. Do you understand, guys? So if the price goes below 100, my payoff is not going to be this black line anymore. It's going to be this blue. Agree or not? However, take a look to what happens. When it goes to 100 or above 100, if I only have my spot position, I will be losing a lot of money. But as soon as I have the option, I will be making a lot of money. That is basically proportional. These two are going to be canceling out. Correct? So basically, guys, after the 100, what I have done is I have limited my downside risk. If I lose in the black side, I make in the red side. My net is simply this position here. So what I've done is I've hedged my my short position. Do you agree, guys? No, short risk, my downside risk. What I'm talking short risk, downside risk. you have hedged your position. Make sense? So homework. You want to sell plus long put. Do exactly the same graph, do exactly the same analysis, and see how you are hedging your downside risk. Okay, and with that, we stop, guys. Please study. This class is crucial to understand all the remaining classes. This class is the class. Okay, study this part here. Just try to memorize the graphs, memorize the positions, memorize everything that we have done up to now. Okay, guys, so we see you next week. And if you have questions, just let me know.
Thanks. Have a good one.
Thank you, guys. Take
Thanks,
care.
Professor.
Have a good night. See you then. See you, guys. See you, good. So take care. Bye-bye, guys.